Hi there. So time is about 2:58. About to step to the gym. So I'm already late to my normal gym time, right? So my entire day has been spent, should I say, gathering up content for the coming year. What that means is I've had ideas that I would really, really love to express, right? In terms of content, things that I have bookmarked, concepts that have come into my head. And we're very frank. It took me about roughly about 4 to 6 hours with my phone turned off to actually come close to knowing the content that I want. And I discovered something, right? That this game of creativity, there is a level of feeling you have to feel when you are creating content. So how that basically works. Whenever inspiration hits me, right? I have like a time frame to put out their idea because to be very, very frank, I may have put down about 20 to 30 ideas. But I ended up removing about two times those ideas. So the ideas I kept are the ideas that kept on hitting me over and over again. Any idea that I saved in the past, if I did not find it interesting at the moment, I did not put it there. So I was majorly focused on short form content. And I know it's been a while since I ever made any serious content. I mean, did I go to the gym yesterday? I think I made content at the gym yesterday, so my bad. I did not make content on Christmas and on Boxing Day, so uh, that's majorly it. So right now I'm just downloading some podcast audio that I'm going to take to the gym. Let's see how that goes. But then, I guess this year one of my things, one goal I think I have this year is to actually go out. Let's say probably date somebody who I believe has like some green flag, have healthy relationship with someone else, or maybe know what it feels like, right? Because I'm approaching my 30s, the age where I feel like I would want to have a family, and I guess it's one of those things where we have to, or where I feel like I have to step up to that game, right? I don't want to get to my 30s and I start looking funny. So I've been meeting a couple of, I've met a couple of people. They show green flags, and let's see what it takes up from there. So it's one of these things. And then the particular quote that keeps hitting my head, right? It says, I think it's from Navarro Ravikant, well, paraphrase. It says, you should you should you should pick something that feels like work to other people, but to me it's play. And that is literally what I'm doing, which I feel like this whole documenting the journey. But to be very, very frank, right? I may have slept a couple of times, and most of the days that I sleep are days where I don't really do anything. So what that means is that I get to sleep, but if I get to do something, right, I get to document what I did. So like if I know I'm going to document, I end up doing something that I end up documenting. So although I think on Christmas and on New Year, my camera was out. Borrowed it to gave it to one of my videographer friends. She had to like, I think she got a paid job and then she needed another camera for like BTS and everything. So that was one of that reason. But I guess I've gotten some short form ideas flowing, and everything looks promising. I just feel like this year a lot of magic is going to happen. Uh, there's a lot of uncertainties, though, a lot of uncertainties. But regardless, so on the other hand, I'm currently compressing all of my videos. At the same time, today I also had a meeting with one of my guys, right, Silva. I think I have put up his podcast recently, right? And then one thing that we spoke about was planning for the next year, and the fact that this is what I think. So a lot of guys should like have friends around them that genuinely want the best for them because I'm one of the very few people that he brings news to, he brings gist to, and then he can confide in me because I genuinely want the best for him. At the same time, he also wants the best for me. And how that really works is sometimes, right? He has some people he wants to speak to, and then he wants to like run the idea through me, and I'm like, bro, guy, calm down, try like this, and almost every single idea I give to him works. So this coming year, he's trying to expand his business. He trades into in different gadgets. I'm telling him that, bro, what's your problem and what's the solution? Ironically, I told him we have the problem. We know the problem. We know the solution, right? The problem is not that we can't take the action. Is that we are too caught up working in the business than working on the business. So we're too caught up with the trenches activities, and then his solution was to get an assistant, and that was where everything just struck. Everything just hit him hard, and I can say that this coming year is going to be different because my guys are going to be balling. Well, approaching our 30s, right? The one thing I like about my squad is that, about my guys rather, is that everybody is on their own path towards their definition of success, right? There's no, there's no competition. Everyone is vibing. We come together. I'm not sure you have seen us together like do a lot. Although January 4th, I'm kind of thinking of hosting this little get together, bring them together. We just gist, talk, bands, play. It's going to be a very, very interesting thing, though. Super interesting. I don't know. I don't know because I have my cousin around. CY is going to be there. OJ is going to be there. Nothing serious. There'll be alcohol, yes, but zero babes. Zero babes. Although I think middle of the year, I plan like a high school reunion. That is, if I have the bar in my pocket, it shouldn't be that bad, right? It will not be that bad. High school reunion, just come together, get some food, get some snacks, and basically just bring the right energy. The whole idea is just to meet guys, just feel the fun and everything. I mean, life itself is, I think, life is a place where you have to, yeah, we make sacrifices for the future. At the same time, we're supposed to enjoy the journey. That's why I'm like taking a step back this coming year, 2025. And like, you know what? I already know what to do, right? I already have the information in my head. What is stopping me is because I feel like I've been caught up in working in the situation, not on the situation. And that is where things like distractions and everything come in. So most of my next year is going to be me coordinating. And I believe that if I get my should I say my contents right and everything, I strongly believe that, right? I strongly believe that if I can get to one goal of a million audience, right? I can probably push a project to about give or take 10 or 1% of those people. And 1% of those people, if you give me roughly about 10,000 people, and I don't know, like I said, is ideas. Or I'm also thinking of creating products that where I leverage on my brand, not to sell to the audience, right? But to use the audience as affiliates, because that's one idea that came to my head. But not regardless. So I'm just prepping for this coming week. My plan is to go to the gym right now. I don't know what to work out on yet. But I think last time I was at the gym, I did abs. I think I did a little bit of abs. So this time I did some abs. I did legs. It was basically a full body though. So I think I might attempt some CrossFit today. And some for some CrossFit, maybe biceps. But just get like very nice CrossFit in. And then from there, call it a day. And I'll be getting granules because I only had one meal, which is I had the meal about an hour ago. Just like very little yam porridge. And to be very, very frank, these days I begin to see that you only need to eat one. Maybe that's me though, and I feel like this coming year, because I'm trying to get a kind of body that I don't think eating more than maybe eating twice, more than twice, no once. Eating twice will help me, right? So I'm going to be reducing the sugar more because I reduced sugar. I cut out a lot of things last year. I mean, this year. I cut out milk. I cut out a lot of flour. I cut out a lot of spaghetti. I really made that intention, and I'm super grateful that I stuck to it. I stuck to that platform. Although this time around, I'll be stepping it up this coming year. Be heavily strict on my diet, and then so yeah, I guess I'm grateful that I just recovered from a very very serious, should I say, illness. It's serious and not so serious at the same time. I had my head banging while I was at the gym and whatnot. So just going to be me going to the gym now, and then when I come back, I'll just prepare for some long form ideas, right? Some long form ideas that I'll be working on almost every single day, and then prep for them so that my team gets to stay at the edge of its game. So thank you very much for tuning in. Talk to you soon. I'm bye for now. So, so Chris and Hans are having this discussion on masculinity and men being able to control their emotions, express versus control their emotions and everything, right? I really can't figure out where Chris Williams thing is here, but Hamza is more like, okay, fine. As a man, express your emotions and move on, right? My school of thought is, as a man, feel the emotion, but do what you need to get done. So that means is, like a soldier, if you're emotional about something, if that thing needs to be solved, go ahead and solve it. Don't go around crying and hoping that, or assuming the person on the other side is just being wicked to you. Yeah. Looks like I take my. Unless you express your emotions, express your feelings, and if your partner leaves you for that, right, what that means is, person is a cheating partner. So I have a thought process along these lines, right, which I'm still working on, which is, first of all, what type of masculinity is that? Masculinity is energies given towards an object, towards a target, towards goals and everything. As a man, regardless of how you feel, you should be able to act accordingly and act and do what needs to be done. Because if you allow your emotions to hold you back, at that moment, you're already saying that your emotions are more than you. And this is why somebody like Miyoto Musashi could create the Dokoto that resonates with a lot of people. And not just make more sales, but be ultimately and be heavily successful at achieving that. Is what a lot of guys lack. My answer is feel the emotions, but detach from them. It's like it's not suppressing the emotions. It's knowing that they are there, but you are going to act. You are going to do what needs to get done, regardless. Alright. Oh boy. So I think this workout is too much on my knees. Having to squat down so fast. So I might get bench, a higher bench. So I think, okay, so Hamza raised this point about vulnerability, that you should feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel vulnerable around your partner, right? And then this guy also talks about it, Mark Manson. So yeah, talking about being vulnerable, right? To an extent, I feel like, yeah, let me see. If you're looking for a short-term partner, right, you can mask your vulnerability. But for a long-term partner, like I always say, issue is not about having vulnerability, but if you know you are vulnerable in a particular region, do you want to do something to fix that vulnerability? Or do you want to use it as an excuse to express your incapabilities? What that means is that if you have a vulnerability and you know it's going to cost you a lot, and you know it's going to be better off fixing it, like go ahead and fix it. Doesn't mean that you won't have vulnerabilities, but you'll be a better person. But yes, that person can. Although, like the story of Samson in the Bible, Harvey exposed his vulnerabilities to Delilah. Although Chris Williams talks about how it makes the other person it makes the other person shitty when you expose your vulnerability. So I was saying, yeah, it really depends. There were no moving factors. Because someone like Samson exposing his vulnerability was very, very stupid because he's basically a moving target for a lot of people. This is 50 kg. Oh boy. Someday, right, I'm going to bring my coach into one of these workouts. So this is what I do as CrossFit. So we can have a conversation from there. Oh boy. Okay, so currently now, they're talking about how some of these red pill guys are slowly beginning to unwind from their preaching. Because right, the red pill space, right, also is optimized for short-term, short-term, what they call it, short-term pleasures from women, right? Which to some extent plays its role. And I always tell people that if you have to think deeply, right, do not categorize anything as good or bad. Instead, you see them as how they play a certain role in evolution. So, for example, the red pill, yes, has optimized a lot of guys to be able to have as much social partners as possible. But in the process, has caused them to involve themselves in terms of confidence, in terms of boy, in terms of confidence, in terms of the second of sport, finances, game, everything. Because, for example, now, so if you take 100 guys and bring them into the red pill, as in, if they are 100% successful in the red pill, most of them, after a certain point, they get the gist, they get the point. And I'm here to make a video. I don't know what to title it, but I think I've said it until you hit the point, right? Just pick something and go with it. For example, I was able to pick the more difficult part until you get the point. So, for example, is being you get to realize that aggression doesn't really pay you, but you might feel guilty. What you can do is channel aggression to the other side and use it to your advantage in terms of use it to protect yourself, use it to protect other people, use it to protect your community because people who are coming to fight you are not people who are loving and loving. They are people who are aggressive. So you need people who are also aggressive to secure the village, to secure the tribe, to secure the community. I just remembered now that I had this guy who I trained with who worked out with me some days ago and then he made a video, posted the video, and he really, really loved it. We only had 30 minutes to work out. I've already spent about 30 minutes already working out and I feel pumped. And this is not even like the main thing because I'm pausing, I'm recording, I'm listening to a podcast and everything at the same time. I took a break from it, so okay, 2 or 3 months break. So right now, Chris right now is talking about making a very valid point, talking about how a lot of like yes, we have this masculine urge to want to compete, to want to be aggressive, but sometimes causes us to do a lot of stupid things. So for example, yeah, you see somebody who is playing his own game, and just because you feel you can beat that person at his own game, hey, what's up now? How are you? Compliments. Just because you feel you can beat somebody at that game, you then leave your game and face his own game. Automatically, you have already lost, right? This is what I say, fine. Everything has its own place on this earth. For example, it's okay to compete until you get the point that instead of competing, you can either compete or create, or instead, what is best is you can create your own competition. Now, I'm not saying you should go out there and compete with other people, but if you're new into all these things, right, take the more difficult part. Go ahead, compete with people. I have someone texting me from work, but well, I'll listen to his voice notes when I have that time. I think right now, I'll just go ahead and stretch, or go ahead and kick, go ahead and kick with the bags. I just plan for a little crossfit today. Maybe some other time, I'll come with my guys and do better crossfit, or instead, like my next year's plan is mostly calisthenics. I'll be, I'll be doing very little with the, I'll be doing very little with the benches and everything. But I'm meant to like properly structure it though, because I'm supposed to start boxing very soon. And for my boxing plans, I guess it's mostly going to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. So I have Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays at the gym. At the gym, then So we're having this discussion about how the red pill guys who preach all this polygamy, have as much kids as possible, how some of them are beginning to settle down. And like I keep telling people in my community, in my space, that it's not like the advice is wrong. Right? The advice is supposed to push people to make certain decisions, to operate in certain ways on their behalf. That's the entire point of that's the entire point of what they call it of that's the entire point of anything, right? Anything that's extreme is for people to get the point. And yes, I get that some people never ever get the gist. Some people just go astray and then they swing back in the opposite direction. That is why I say it's not about being red pill, right? It's that it is about being blue pill, it's about being red pill that way. And using that red pill to your advantage if you want to achieve long term. Because blue pill seems to work long term, red pill seems to be short term. And it's not about short term versus long term. It's how do you blend them together? How do you blend the concepts together? I'm still getting. So okay. Oh, that was definitely. Hello everyone. Have you heard? No, Nissan again. This still has its elements. So so maybe by January I'll be able to see a curriculum of what I'm doing in terms of MMA, but I have very short time here. Let me just play around with the countries. That's why I want to get boxing right. So one issue now is I think boxers punch this way, right? Maybe some martial artists punch this way, but they're asking me now to punch vertically, not horizontally, and at a certain angle. Although these are things that I get to master with time, but what I want to do is step into it. So step into it, and then punch. So what are you waiting for? Try someone today and get the chance to in the Fair and Rev Up 2.0 now to 31st December 2020. See posters at the front desk for more details. Stay tuned, and keep on reading. Session. Punch. I think I'm getting the gist of using the two knuckles to punch. I'm no longer using my last case. I'm aiming to use my knuckles to punch, right? Which I feel like I'm feeling the flat impact. And also, I'm also feeling this whole idea of using my hips. I'm feeling beginning to. Oh, alright, so punch. I need to grab my hips go back. Okay. That was like just for sake of cleaning up. I definitely need to do some hip expansion. I think maybe my hip expansion right now. I can't add that to the morning routine. I can just add it to my gym cool off and because I'm really exhausted. I've not eaten that much today. It's very little, so currently I'm going to the apartment. I think I'll finish up the podcast on my way to the apartment and then call it a day or something. Maybe then turn on my camera to like give you guys what I feel about the podcast.